Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, 2 rookies, and no Deshaun Watson. The Browns' preseason has already started off on a high note, and the mood in Berea is hiding more than it reveals. Coach Kevin Stefanski is dodging questions like a veteran, and the absence of Watson in his speeches says a lot. And to spice things up even more, Cam Heyward decided to provoke with gusto, making fun of the QB rotation in Cleveland. Check out the team's latest and hit the like button now. Things are starting to simmer out in Berea, and it's not just the weather, it's the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation heating up as OTAs roll along. But head coach Kevin Stefanski? Yeah, he's playing it close to the vest, offering just enough to stir the pot without actually giving anything away. Stefanski dropped by the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima on 92.3, The Fan, and when pressed about who's leading the QB race, he just chuckled and said, "Yeah, I'm not willing to tell you." That's not a denial, folks. That's the classic coach smokescreen. And in this case, it might actually be saying a lot without saying much at all. Let's break down the quarterback room real quick. Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old vet who still slings it with ice in his veins. Kenny Pickett, the former Steelers starter who's trying to flip the script in Cleveland. Then you've got the rookies, Dillon Gabriel, picked up in the 3rd round, and Shedeur Sanders grabbed in the 5th. 4 names, that's it. But here's where it gets spicy. Deshaun Watson, the dude who cost the Browns a boatload of cash and draft capital but hasn't played like a franchise guy, and oh yeah, he's still recovering from a ruptured Achilles. Stefanski didn't even mention him in that QB head count. Not once, even when he was joking about getting peppered with quarterback questions at a kids' flag football event, he only talked about the 4 current competitors. That's not an accident. So, what does that mean? Well, it might be the first real sign that the Browns are starting to move on from the Watson experiment, quietly but intentionally. And honestly, given the mess that situation has been, can you blame them? It's going to be a wild few months in Cleveland. The job is wide open. The head coach is dodging direct answers like a veteran press conference ninja, and Watson's name is fading further into the background. If this really is the beginning of the end for the Deshaun Watson era in Cleveland, it's starting with a whisper, not a bang. Are the Browns really moving on with Watson? Comment below and get ready, because the provocation that came from Pittsburgh was one of those that you should keep in the fridge. Cameron Heyward just threw a little off-season spice into the AFC North stew, and yep, his target was the Cleveland Browns. Even when there's no football being played, the Steelers and Browns can't help but poke the bear. This time, it was Heyward, taking a not-so-subtle jab at Cleveland on his podcast Not Just Football with Cam Heyward, while breaking down Pittsburgh's 2025 slate. With a grin, he dropped this little gem. "You don't know what's going on in Cleveland at the quarterback position," before tossing out a sarcastic shout-out to Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, then pausing to ask, how many different quarterbacks we got over there? The jab? Sharp. The delivery? Classic Heyward. He even threw in a reminder that the Browns recently clowned the Steelers in a meme post, calling Pittsburgh a dumpster fire. Cam wasn't about to let that slide without firing back. Now here's the kicker. He's not entirely wrong. The Browns' QB room is looking like an open mic night. Vets and rookies all vying for the spotlight. You've got Flacco trying to hold it down, Pickett hopping over from Pittsburgh, and 2 fresh faces, Gabriel and Sanders, eager to prove they belong. That's 4 QBs fighting for 1 spot, and nobody's locked it up yet. Funny thing is, Pittsburgh's quarterback setup isn't exactly a fortress either. Mason Rudolph is currently the lead guy, but behind him, Will Howard, a 6th-rounder, and Skylar Thompson, who's had some NFL moments but isn't exactly lighting up the depth chart. And let's not forget the wild card here, Aaron Rodgers. If he pulls the trigger and signs with the Steelers, the whole dynamic shifts in a heartbeat. Until then, it's just more fuel on the rivalry fire. The Browns and Steelers won't meet until the fall, but thanks to Heyward's playful trash talk, that first clash is already shaping up to be must-watch TV. If there's smoke, there's fire. Stefanski seems to be paving the way for a new era without Watson. And Heyward? He did what he knows how to do, poke where it hurts. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything that's coming up in Cleveland.